Plants. We grow them, farm them, eat them, and now we fight them. Maybe, depending on your DM. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode, and today we are talking about plants that woke up and chose violence. How do you DM awaken plants? Alright, so once again I have scammed you all, because we have to skip all the way to 5th edition to get a stat block for these monsters. Today, we have two monsters under the same awakened plant family, so we have the awakened shrub and the awakened tree. As for 5e, they appear in the monster manual and have multiple references and appearances in various adventures. There is no art for them in the monster manual, however, and the stats are exactly the same as 5.5e, so we will just move on to the art in 5.5e and get to the stats. People may wonder why I love 5.5e so much, and here is one of many reasons. Everything gets art. And the reason I like that is because it gives us an example of what these creatures look like, while the text associated with it gives us more on what these monsters could look like, which we will get into in this video. So here, we see an awakened tree, risen out of the ground, blooming many flowers surrounded by awakened shrubs that have taken the form of rabbits and foxes. It is simple, but perfectly visualizes an example of these creatures for you. As for now, that is all the publication of awakened plants. So now we go to the lore. The lore for these plants is simple, but it has a lot of consequence for your worlds, should you choose to use them. Magic is a driving factor of these monsters. The most common form of magic used to bring about these plants is the awakened spell. However, it is stated that this is not the only way they can be brought to life, as there are plants that can draw in the required magic to come to life, and other planes of existence are able to influence some plants enough to awaken them as well. The awakened shrub is any small plant that comes into contact with this magic, and usually takes on the form of small animals or facial features, which is a weird sight to imagine. I can only guess what that would look like. These creatures also indicate the existence of their bigger brother nearby, the awakened tree. These awakened trees could be mistaken for tree ants, but the dead giveaway here is that these trees do not talk or have facial features. They can move or stand still for ages, depending on what source of magic is affecting these plants. They may have whimsical blooming features or ragged dead features. Let's just say the Feywild and the Abyss are the two examples here for realms that could affect these plants. We are looking at the awakened shrub first. We start with 9 AC, 10 HP, a slow 20 feet of movement, and -1 initiative. Not the most intimidating creatures for sure, and that continues with the fact that they have no positive ability scores, and the only thing impressive about them is that they are resistant to piercing damage. They're pretty much a laughingstock. Even their rake attack does only a measly 1 slashing damage. These guys are literally CR0. Moving to the tree, it is a bit more impressive with a 13 AC, 59 HP, but 20 feet of speed again, and -2 initiative. They do have 19 strength and 15 constitution going for them, and they are resistant to bludgeoning and piercing damage. Their attack is a bit more powerful with a slam that has a +6 and deals 3d6 +4 bludgeoning damage. That's pretty good. For the level that these creatures, they're CR2, so for the level that these creatures could be fighting as far as players go, they could easily probably kill that kind of player in 1 to 2 hits. And I skipped a couple of things on both these stat blocks intentionally because they are included on both, so now I will get to those. Both of these blocks have a vulnerability to fire, which, duh, I don't think we need to go any further on that. And they can both speak. I honestly don't know how they speak, but they do. Kind of freaky to be honest. So now that the stats are described, let's see about how they play. Just to get some ambiance, I think a forest is the obvious place for these monsters to be, and hear me out, I think it would be cool if the plants here are causing a dead magic zone to occur in the vicinity, because they are feeding off of the surrounding magic. This renders spells and items to be non-magical while in the area, and some interesting gameplay may occur. Maybe someone that lives here is complaining about the dead magic zone and wants the players to figure out what is happening. The players go to investigate, and one way or another, discover that it is the plants feeding off the magic in the area. This may lead to an interesting debate between your players to figure out how to remove the plants or to convince the quest giver to let the plants stay. If they decide to remove them, they may have a fight on their hands, as the forest literally comes alive as a swarm of awakened shrubs and a tree come out of the ground and charge towards them. For the shrubs, make it so that they outnumber each player, at least 5-1, so they can put up somewhat of a fight, and so that the tree is not the only thing that players are attacking. The tree will pursue whoever is dealing the most blows on the shrubs and deal its 3d6 plus 4 slam. Keep doing that until one side emerges victorious. With the dead magic zone, players may panic and run, and that is okay because now they know what they're dealing with. I would say that this encounter would be a really good level 2 or 3 fight, as level 1 would honestly just get pummeled by the tree and you're going to end up probably TPKing, maybe? I think 59 HP as well may be a bit much for a level 1 group. Yeah, I would say so, probably. Unless there's like 8 players. No, probably 5 or more could deal with this at level 1, but I would say probably 4 is not enough, especially with all the awakened shrubs that surrounds them. So with that, I think we have covered awakened plants thoroughly, and they seem to be really interesting if you give them the right twist. They're not extremely strong and provide a good premise for a low-level adventure or quest, and that's really all they need to be, as there are other plants in Dungeons & Dragons that provide much, much more challenge. You all have a good one, and ladies and gentlemen, let's roll.